we started creating our task list. And so if it's a milestone, we have a red color. If it's a task, it's white. And then a subtask gets indented. Hey everyone, this is my SharePoint questions, and I am Andrew Hess. So it seemed that the little project management app that I was working on, I had a lot of good feedback behind it. So I'm going to continue to make more videos about this app, and I think I have some good ideas. So today, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to change a little bit of the colors, and then I'm going to add a task list to it. So we don't have a task list yet. Right now we just have projects. So if we check in here, we just have, a project. We don't have any tasks associated with these projects. The first thing I want to do is I don't really like the size of this this line item here. So what I'm going to do is, I believe if you go to, I think it's template size right here, template size. Right now it's 100. I'm going to change that down to 80. Let's make it a little smaller. I just want to be able to fit more projects in one screen. And we still just have actual work, actual spend there. Okay. Now the next thing I noticed that I wanted to do was, I didn't like the stoplight exactly. So I'm going to make the stoplight look a little bit better. So I'm going to insert, I've done this in many of my videos, but I'm going to insert an HTML text, and I just like to do this. We'll put it over here so we can see it for now. And for the HTML text, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a div. And let's make it so we can see here. And /div, okay? And add a style to this div. And when we do HTML and Power Apps, you have to start with the double quotes to let it know that it's HTML, and then other things that are in double quotes normally in HTML, you have to add the single quote. I'm going to add a padding of 20 pixels, and the padding is going to have a background color. The background is going to be a linear gradient. And the linear gradient is going to be of 90, I believe if we do 90 degrees. And I want to do greens for this time. So I'm going to do dark green, 0%, light green, 30%, and, dark green to a light green at 100%. And what we want to do here is add a border radius, because I want it to be a circle. It's not working yet. I'm missing a percentage here. There we go. So we have another stoplight. All right. So I have a new stoplight here. Right now it's only green. And what we want to do is, we had an equation in here in the fill, of this one. So we said switch. I'm going to put that at the beginning of here. So switch, and for green, I'll put in my div. And I'm going to put it in each one, for yellow here and red here. All right, so it's always green right now. And we can format text if you click on this button here. Format text. Now for red, we'll just say dark red, red, light red, or maybe we could do pink, I'm not sure. For yellow, let's see, I don't know if there is a dark yellow, but we'll find out. Yellow, light yellow. Let's see if that works. All right, so those are not working. Light red is not one, so let's go with pink. So for yellow, what can we do? Maybe we'll start off with orange. There we go. Orange, yellow, light yellow. And I'm going to delete the circle here. And now I will have more of like a 3D circle. And maybe we want, instead of 95 degrees, we could do 45 degrees. It's kind of just me being picky. But there we go. Now we have more of like a 3D circle. I know it's not a big deal, you know, but those little bit of touches I think are pretty nice. Now another trick I like to do for this gallery, so when we play, right, I want to highlight the gallery as we hover. So what I like to do is I like to insert a button. Oh, let me insert it in the gallery. So insert a button. And it's going to have a 0 border radius. And it's going to take up the entire space. I've done a lot of this stuff in many other videos. And the color is actually going to be clear, and it's going to say nothing. So now, like when we hover over, you can see it's highlighting. So we're using that button highlight property. Now the hover property, so let's go to HoverFill. We're going to say, I believe if we do something like right here in this 1 value, this is the alpha. I believe if we change it to 0.2, let's see what happens. There we go. So that's a really simple trick to do. Just kind of add a button in there. We do want to make sure that this icon, the edit icon, is on top of our button. This is where renaming your parts could be useful. So button hover, and then this icon right here, rename it icon edit. We want to make sure that the icon is actually reordered to the front. So now, you know, we can click on the button, hover, and that looks pretty good. I like that already. All right, so let's keep going from here. We're going to go to SharePoint. So I'm going to go to SharePoint, and this is my project list right now. Now what I'm going to do is add a task list. So I'm going to go to settings up here, site contents, and I'm going to create a new list. And it's going to be from blank. Project tasks list. Okay, and we'll show it in the navigation. All right, so we have a brand new project tasks list. First thing we want to do is we want to have a way to associate this task list with the project list. So if I have ABC development, we want the task list to know that we're in ABC development. So this is me going old school. I normally don't go here to add column. I go up to the top, do settings, list settings, and I create a column. And this is going to be project ID, and it's going to be a number, project ID, and it's going to have no decimal places. Okay, so we now have project ID and title. Now before I keep going, a lot of people do project management in many different ways, right? So I'm just going to check out Google. That's normally what I do. We'll just look up project task list. And we'll just look at a couple images here. We can see here, and hopefully it's not too small. Let's see if I can make it a little bigger. You know, they have the task list. They have a checkbox if it's done. Progress, assigned to, estimated, and actual. So for me, normally I would say, I would either call this planned, or I would just call this hours. I would call it hours and actual hours, but you could call it planned hours. And then you have planned cost or cost and then actual cost. Priority and risk. Let's look at some other ones. This one changes to budget. And you have priority with a high, medium, low. And here, this is pretty close to the same. They add a little slippage and planned days in there. So we want to do the same thing in SharePoint. So this is their project plan template. We're going to try and recreate the same thing in Power Apps. And so this is just going to give me an idea. This looks like it is Microsoft Project, or very similar to it. Overdue. Maybe we can make it automatically calculate if it's overdue or not. This is definitely very close to Microsoft Project. All right, so I'm just going to leave that on the side while we keep creating columns. So back to SharePoint. All right, so we have our project ID, list settings. We're going to create some more columns. So let's see, priority. I like priority. And it's going to have some choices, but we're going to leave it a single line text here in SharePoint. I'm going to leave it a single line text. Let's see, progress. This can be a number field, and maybe we'll leave it as a number field because maybe it will be calculated, and we'll show it as a percentage. Okay, and let's see here. Budget. Currency. Yep. And let's add a few more in here. Actual cost. So I'm going to change that other one to cost. I like cost better. So actual cost. And this one here that is budget, it's either, you can either call it planned cost or cost. That's just me being picky. So I'm just going to call it cost. So we have cost and actual cost. And we can add a risk column, risk. And I'm not going to change this to a choice field here. I'm going to leave it as single line text in SharePoint. We will make it a choice field in Power Apps. And then we want, I think I'm just taking a look at these other ones. Did I add a percent complete? We have progress. I'm going to call this actually percent complete because I prefer the more project management terms. To me, progress, I want pure project management. Right out of the PMP, right? And let's see, do we have task status? We'll call this one task status. Let's do start date. End date. All right, so we have some columns here. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. Title, project ID, priority, percent complete, cost, actual cost, risk, task status, start date, and end date. All right, so now that we have a list, let's go back to Power Apps. So we're going to create a new screen, and let's rename this one right away. We'll call this one task list. Okay, and the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add a gallery, and we have to refresh our data source. So I'm gonna refresh my data source, or actually we have to add the data source. So let's do that. SharePoint. So it's the task list, and we called it project task list, and we're going to connect. All right, so now our gallery, we're going to connect also to our project task list. And let's go ahead and make one in SharePoint. Just so, you know, test task, project ID, maybe 3 will work for us. 50, 1100, high, complete. and save. All right, so we have one task in here. And let's refresh. All right, so we have a test task in here. We're going to remove that picture. All right. Now we have a task in here. I'm actually going to move this up. I'm going to make this very small. I'm going to remove that arrow. And let's add one more task just so we can see it better. We have two tasks in here. This is the title field, and I'm going to have this take up the entire space. This is the project ID. And I kind of want to mimic the way SharePoint looks here. So I want it to look very similar to SharePoint. And we'll add a label up here. This will be task name. Copy that over. This will be project. Well, we don't even need to show project ID really. So I'll fast forward again. I'm just going to create the columns across here. All right, so now I have my columns. I'm going to add a background color to each one. I'll just make it gray for now. I made it gray for now. Now we're going to work on the gallery line items here. So this item dot priority. Now we want % complete. Okay. So now we got a gallery with our tasks in here. Now, when we go to this gallery, we're going to be on our first screen. We're going to be on this screen. And we want a button or something to lead us to the tasks of this project. So let's do a button for now just to keep it simple. I'm going to remove this arrow. I don't really like the arrows. The more I can make Power Apps not look like Power Apps, I think the better, right? Same with SharePoint. The more you can make SharePoint not look like SharePoint, the happier people are. That's really funny. So let's see tasks. Now this task is going to navigate to our task list on a fade. And it's going to select the parent. We need to select the parent first. All right, so we click on that and we have our tasks. But let's add a back button real quick. All right. But every single project is now going to show those tasks. We want to relate the two. And so let's go back to SharePoint real quick and go to our project list. And I'm going to add the ID field in here. And we'll see if we had an ID 3. So I'm going to come down here into all items. And I'm just going to check off the ID field. You don't create your own ID field. It's out of the box with SharePoint. All right, so we do not have a project ID 3. So I'm going to add, we'll just say 2. We'll make it for this software project. So we'll go back to our project task list, and we're going to change this to ID 2 since that's what we got. Okay, and I'm going to refresh the database. All right, so this one here is the JTE project. So JTE, the second one here, we want to only show our task when we're related to this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our items level up here in project task list, and we're going to filter. We're going to filter our project task list when task name or actually it's title, right? I believe it's title, equals our gallery. So let's check out what our gallery is. So I have my first gallery here. I'm going to rename it to gal projects just to make it simple for myself. So gal projects. We'll go back to task list. When title is equal to gal projects dot selected dot ID. And it's actually not title, it's project ID. All right, so let's go back, try it out. So we see our tasks in here when we click on JTE. When we click on ABC, it's blank. Ah, beautiful, right? So now the only thing tasks are associated with are the ones that we select. So right here, we on the button click, we're selecting the parent. So that's how we're pulling that in. So we're going to select the parent and navigate. So the selected item of the project ID is equal to that ID in SharePoint. So we actually put the project ID here too. Okay, so now let's do a button to create new tasks. So this button is going to create task. So we can create tasks from here, or we can create tasks from here. But I think I'm just going to do it after we click in once, then we'll create tasks. So if we have a new project, it'll be blank at first, and then we'll create tasks. So we're going to have a new button, and it's going to create tasks. And we need another screen. So this screen is going to be create, oh no, maybe we'll just call it task form. So this is going to be our task form. And in here, we're going to have a form, and it's going to be edit. And we're going to connect to data the project task list. So the data source is going to be the project task list. And that's going to pull our fields in. And we don't, maybe we want attachments, but for right now, I don't want attachments. So we can do things like rearrange this, leave project ID up there, make that bigger. So for project ID, this is where the trick comes in. We want project ID, the default of project ID. So we're going to unlock it. The default is going to be gal projects dot selected dot ID. Is that right? Yep. Dot ID. And this card, so the card is going to be uneditable. So we want to make sure the display mode is view. So now we're going to need a back button. All right, so back, it brings us here. So create task is not working correctly. We got to fix that create task. It's going to navigate us to task form. There we go. And it's blank right now because we have not set up the items property. So we're going to come to our form here and go to items property. I just saw it and I lost it. Items. And it's going to be that other gallery. So on task list, this is a gallery. And we're going to rename this, rename gal tasks. Okay, so we're going to create. And this is going to be the item property of the form will be gal tasks dot selected. There we go. All right, so now create task, it is populated, but what we want to do on create task is do, before we navigate, we're going to do NewForm. We didn't name the form yet. It's form 1. We'll just say form 1 for now. So when we click on here, we get a new form. And you notice that the ID is still populated. So if we go back twice and we click a different project, let's say this one here, and we create task, you'll notice the project ID is already populated. Perfect. No one can go on there and edit. And we can add, this is my new task. And we don't even need to fill out the rest of it yet, but we do need to save. So I'm going to create a new button. Just going to copy paste the back button. And this will say save. And instead of navigating, what we're going to do is we're going to submit form 1. Now, you can navigate after this right here on the OnSelect. But what I like to do, and this is just best practice, is go to the advanced property. OnSuccess. We're going to navigate back to the task list screen on a fade. And before we do that, we're going to put up a message if we're successful. Go up here to OnSuccess. We're going to notify, and it gives us the IntelliSense successfully saved. Should give me the IntelliSense. There we go. So now that we have a save button, on success, we're going to notify successfully saved success and navigate back to the task list. So this is my new task, save. You notice we get a little green bar up here. Now we can do lots of other things, but right now that's what I'm going to do. So this is my new task. And we want the font here to be smaller so we can see a lot more. In EFG, this is a EFG first task. Priority high, complete, 0, cost. We'll say a lot. Let's do one a lot in there with low risk. Not complete. And we're going to change those to drop downs. We'll do that in this video. I don't know how long I've been going on. All right, so we have the success message with the font smaller. Hopefully it's not too small for the video, right? Like everybody can see that. I want to do one more thing that I think is a nice little added feature. So we're back in SharePoint. You can see the tasks are starting to fill out. The project IDs are filling out correctly. I want to add another field, and this is going to be task type. Task type, and it's a single line choice for now. And right now in Power Apps, I'm going to add a task type in here. Let's see if we can get some space. I'm sure we can. Let's go back to our form and add. So if we want to add a new field, all we do is we come into our form, edit fields, add, and we have to refresh the database. All right, we refreshed and add task type. Now task type here is going to have, we'll go ahead and it's going to be either a milestone or a task. So I'm going to just call this one a task. Let's just go to SharePoint real quick because I just want to show how to do this. We're going to have this as a milestone task. Okay, and refresh the database again. Okay, now what I want to do is if it's a milestone, we can do a couple different things. We can change the color, we can indent. Oh, we could add another task type as SubTask. So for milestone, what we can do is, you know how I added that button here on the hover? So let's add the button. Just coming up with ideas as I do this. It's going to be clear. So on the HoverFill, we're going to change this to 0.2. So now when we come down, we get to highlight. We can click if we want. We don't have a reason for that. But on the color, so on the fill, so this is going to be the regular fill. Right now we're clear. We're going to say if this item equals milestone, then we'll make it clear. Else we'll make it clear again. I'm just doing this temporarily. Okay, but we'll make, if it's a milestone, maybe it'll be 100. We'll say 0.2. There we go. So now, if it's a milestone, it'll be red. Add another task type. So let's, my first subtask, 0% low. Task type is SubTask. All right, so now in the title here, if this item dot task type equals subtask, then we'll do this item dot title. But then if it is a subtask, we're going to add some space in there and maybe a little bit more. There we go. So now if it's a subtask, it's going to indent. And maybe we'll give this a little bit more space. Or maybe we call this a child task and a parent task. But right now we have task and subtask. And so I'm going to leave it there for this video. I don't know how long I've been going on, but we started creating our task list. And so if it's a milestone, we have a red color. If it's a task, it's white. And then a subtask gets indented. So we'll just create another task in here. You can see how that's working out, right? We have a test task. It's a milestone. Test task 2. We have my first subtask and create work breakdown structure. Now all of this is associated to one project, and this is the gal projects dot probably title gal projects dot selected dot title. So you can see that this is for this project. And so if we go look at another one, let's say EFG. We have a few tasks in here with EFG. No tasks here, no tasks. So it's really neat. We're building that out. We have our projects and our tasks. And I'm going to leave it there for now. I went on for a long time. I feel like these videos, I can make so many videos on this app. And maybe we'll release this app. Who knows, right? I think Microsoft was saying you could sell your apps. I don't know if I want to do that, but let's create a project management dashboard app that people can use with their SharePoint. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time, and we'll keep working on this app. If you like what I'm doing here, please like, subscribe, and we'll keep going. Thank you guys for watching.